put your video away.
There's no area of Britain that he can't
Okay,
walk
I'm going
in
to
theory.
record these.
Let me say this, Tommy Robinson can't walk down an area like that.
He can't walk down anywhere.
So for him it is a no-go zone, no doubt.
But that's
still because of
his notoriety, not because of any no-go areas.
So I agree that if a white person was to walk down an area that was like South, nothing can happen.
So
I don't think that will happen to me.
So Raj, if we have somebody here who's inciting hatred, clearly by lying, just like the Nazis did about the Jews in the 1930s, the Jews are taking over, the Jews have their enclaves, they're secretly controlling things, they're taking over to the same kind of dynamics, social dynamics. We need to publicly disassociate ourselves if we've been close allies before, which you are and have been. You can't just say, oh, I privately disagree, maybe one day I'll get around to saying nothing.
What I'm saying is this year, I truly believe that individuals like Tommy Robinson are still going to be there, and individuals that are going to propagate these things are still going to be there. And the best way to kind of educate people is to talk to people. And I'm not going to stop talking to certain people. I have certain individuals that I know are good people, but maybe slightly misinformed or misunderstand what's going on, or maybe purposely don't want to listen. And if I come to the conclusion that they are purposely misinforming people because of their own kind of agenda, and they know what they're saying is wrong, and I've told them it's not, then yeah, I will start disassociating myself. But I will not start disassociating myself because other people tell me that this person's bad and that person's good. I'm going to make my own decision when it comes to that.
See, Tommy Robinson is a fanatic. He's not like a neighbour who perhaps you can have a reasonable conversation. Hey dude, you know, these views you've got are a bit wrong. He's a public fanatic. He's demonising Muslims. Indirectly, he is responsible for any attacks on Muslims because he creates a climate of fear and hostility and enmity towards a vulnerable group of people in our society. So, because he's a fanatic, he won't listen to reason. If he'd listened to reason, he wouldn't be where he is today. He would listen to other people. So in spite of being told the truth, he is still propagating his lies because he is a fanatic. He's an extremist. He's a far-right extremist.
I don't want to be rude, but the thing is they're talking so much behind, it's distracting me. I don't know if there's any way to do it. I condemn you for being a turd. That's what I condemn. Be a man. Be a bunda for once. When you be a bunda for once and be a man, maybe I might start condemning other people. I condemn you for being a fucking turd. Be a bunda, grow some tutte. You know what tutte are?
Focus, Raj.
You're making me look here. I'm trying to be civil today, yeah, and have a sensible conversation. But when you have somebody like this, anybody that celebrates those deaths, you are evil, savage people. Yeah, you people need to be shot to the moon like the rest of those freaking ISIS supporters. All of you are the same people. You need to go over there and start, you know, I don't know, duke it out and kill each other up there. Because yes, I do condemn people. But I start hearing people justifying this attack or saying maybe it's retaliation for this, I'm going to disassociate myself because nobody, yeah, that guy that done the attack, I truly believe this, that he's a white supremacist who, although his main target is Muslims, if I was walking down the road, do you think he wouldn't have killed me? He would have still shot me as well. He would have shot him, and he definitely would have shot him.
Definitely.
So yeah, so we would. What it is? So when it comes to the situation, the Sikhs also have experiences in America, the Wisconsin shooting, and he had the same ideology as this.
Because they're mistaking you for Muslims. That's why.
No.
Not because they
he was a white supremacist. His main thing was that. Look, what I truly believe is that even if there was no terrorist attacks happening around the world, these type of individuals would still want to kill Muslims and minorities because their ideology is just about eradicating people that are not like them. So they use this, you know, the old Manchester as an excuse. I mean, disgracefully for that guy that done the terror attack, he had one of the a young girl who got killed in a terror attack, name on a gun, which is totally disrespectful to that young girl that died in that terrorist attack. This guy doesn't care about anything apart from hurting people that are not like him. Yeah,
so the guy didn't have your name on the gun, did he?
No, he had the word samosa carrying prick somewhere. Maybe on his lulla, I don't know. Alright, so let's get back to this stuff. I do want to talk about one thing because I've not read the manifesto of the guy. And I know, I'm not going to say I think, I've not even read it, but I know my ideology is no way in line with this. Now, I will say one thing though, when it comes to the Great White Replacement, this is not totally untrue, but it is something that's the white people's fault. It's not Muslims doing it. What's happening is that the white people in the West have lost their traditional values. So what they're doing is that they're murdering 150 million babies. Sorry, I believe abortion is murder. And 150 million babies are being murdered. Muslims don't do abortions, yeah? So obviously they're going to have more kids on the whole. Then you have a situation that the birth rate is now only like 1.5 for white people, but other communities like the Muslim community are having normal birth rates. So in reality, what's happening is that these far-right fascists are using something that is their own fault, so the West needs to take responsibility for losing their traditional family, their traditional values, and their numbers are going to decrease, but that is not planned by Muslims. It's done by your own downfall for becoming too liberal.
No, I agree with you. The alt-right traditionally, they do blame Jews for that.
Yeah.
They say behind the scenes of all this, there's a Jewish conspiracy to basically exterminate the white race, and so Muslims are basically pawns in there. They don't tend to blame Muslims per se, but they do hate Muslims. And hate
Would
Islam.
you classify Richard Spencer as one of those? Because
As what?
do you know who Richard Spencer
Yes.
is? Yeah, so would you classify him something that blames the Jews? Because I know there's certain individuals that it's a very complicated. Some people on the far
Richard
right.
Spencer, I mean, this is going to personality. Now. He's an American guy. He used to be thought to be the guy who coined the term alt-right, and he was a senior figure. He's on record as saying he doesn't believe there's an organised conspiracy to do this to Europe. He doesn't believe that. But the norm in the alt-right is there's a Jewish conspiracy. So he's a bit different. He's a bit,
Yeah. So when you read the manifesto, what kind of points did you take from that manifesto that stood out to you as a kind of, let's specify, because it's such a big manifesto. Well, it's not really that, it's only 71
it's about 70 odd pages.
But Andres Breivik is basically, I know, one of his heroes.
It's very different from Andres Breivik.
Yeah, no, Andres Breivik, just so people know, he actually killed the politicians' children on an island, around 70 of them, because he felt like they were betraying the countries and were traitors. So those children were not Muslim, but they were seen as race traitors. But what did you take from that particular document that aligned with, say, some of the thought process of Tommy Robinson or maybe even me? That's quite a controversial.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily tie it with the idea of the Great Replacement is probably there in Tommy Robinson's mind, but this is the idea, as we said, that, and you're right, the fertility rates are in free fall in Britain and the West in general.
Start having babies, man.
So, but this is what the far right would say. Start having babies. Perhaps AID or whatever it's called, artificial insemination. You won't find me sleeping with anyone.
We might find a man had a baby recently. So
no, he wasn't a baby. He was a transgender woman. So he was complaining about that, but he was complaining about for him the historic, civilizational attack of Islam on the West forever in the last 1,000 years. He go on about that. Like any kind of historical context, understanding of the way the West colonized the entire Middle East and North Africa, as we know. But he also mentioned one British politician who actually came here once, I'm told, in the 1930s. Someone called Oswald Mosley.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oswald Mosley was the leader of the British Union of Fascists in the 1930s. He was interned during the Second World War because obviously he was a threat to public order. But he was an outspoken, he called himself a fascist. And this guy in Christchurch saw him as an ideal politician. So he explicitly fascist, this guy. He wasn't just alt-right, he was fascist. There's a difference between fascism and the alt-right, which is a different subject. But for him, the big issue was the white race. The white race is becoming extinct. Muslims are the hostile enemy. We need to kill them, basically. But interestingly, he named a list of individuals who wanted people in Britain to pick up a gun and assassinate. He actually called for the targeted killing of the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, for example. I mean, he actually lists a name of people he wanted to see assassinated. So this is a highly dangerous individual.
There's this kind of, I actually think that do you think the mosques need to tighten their security? Because one of the things I found quite surprising is, I have to admit, I watched the video because I thought I need to see it. Yeah, because I need to see the savagery and how people, because I mean, this individual was walking around like a robot, like it's sickening trying to see it, that some individuals, people in the world are that evil. But one of the things I found quite surprising was the lack of kind of response to the situation of such severity. I mean, you could hear that. I mean, he wasn't like with a silencer. So even the mosques within the UK, I do agree that some people say it needs to be tight. I think they do need to be tightened up in terms of security. And
there is, well, for example, in Regent's Park Mosque, the local
including
mosque
Gurdwara as well, though, Sikh temples as well, and Hindu temples.
There are security guards there who patrol. There is